So how do you really know if a digital file is legit? In a world that runs on data, that's one of the biggest questions out there. Today, we're going to break down the tech that creates what you can think of as an unbreakable chain of evidence.
I mean, think about it for a second. A contract, a financial report, maybe a critical system lock. If someone could change just one number without leaving a trace, how could you trust any of it? This isn't just some techie puzzle. It's a huge challenge for businesses, for auditors, and even for our legal systems.
You see, unlike a physical piece of paper, a digital record can be altered and leave zero obvious clues. A single number gets tweaked, a log entry gets deleted, and poof, it can happen invisibly. This fragility, right here, is the core problem we have to solve.
And that brings us right to the heart of it, the problem of digital proof. How in the world do we build trust on a foundation that's so easy to mess with? Well, let's dive into the solution.
The answer is a concept called an evidence chain. Now, this isn't just about storing files somewhere. Not at all. It's about creating a permanent, unbreakable record, a chain of custody, really, that guarantees every single piece of evidence is authentic and tamper-proof from the very second it's created.
To really get how this works, let's actually follow the journey of one single piece of evidence. This is where a record is born, and it's where our whole story really kicks off.
So let's meet our hero. It's just a single login event. Seems small, kind of insignificant, right? But in the world of compliance and security, every single action matters. This is the very first link in our chain.
Now, our hero, that login event, it comes from what's called a system source. It's automated, it just happens in real time. But evidence also comes from process sources, which are things driven by people like access reviews or training records. Both types are absolutely vital links in the chain. Okay, so once our login event happens, we can't just toss it in a folder. It has to be captured and given a totally unique, verifiable identity. In other words, it needs to get fingerprinted.
This is done using a process called hashing, and I want you to think of it exactly like a human fingerprint. It takes all the data from our login event and basically converts it into one unique string of text. This fingerprint, or hash, represents that specific event and absolutely nothing else.
And this is what makes hashing so incredibly powerful. On the left, you see a sentence with a period. On the right, the exact same sentence, but without the period. It's a tiny, almost invisible change, right? But look at their digital fingerprints. They are completely different. Even the smallest alteration creates a whole new identity, which makes any kind of tampering immediately and screamingly obvious.
So before that final fingerprint is made, our login event goes through a quick prep process. First, its format gets standardized, or normalized. Then it's enriched with extra context, like timestamps. And finally, the critical last step. It's hashed, creating that permanent digital fingerprint.
Okay, our piece of evidence now has its unique identity. So where does it go? Well, it goes into a digital vault that's designed to be, you guessed it, unbreakable.
This vault is a special kind of storage called WORM, which stands for Write Once, Read Many. And honestly, it's the digital equivalent of carving something into stone. Once our login event and its hash are written here, they are permanent. They simply cannot be altered or erased. Period.
So the crucial thing to get is that this storage prevents any modification or deletion. Access is locked down tight. Only authorized auditors can even read it. And this evidence is kept for years, often up to 7, to meet all those strict compliance and legal requirements.
And now we get to the payoff. All this work, the fingerprinting, the vault, it all leads to this exact moment. It's showtime for the auditors, when the entire system has to prove its integrity.
And the scale we're talking about here is just immense. We're not talking about our one little login event anymore. In a single year, a system like this captured and protected over 1.4 million individual pieces of evidence. And here's the amazing part. This isn't a one-time check. Every single day, an automated system recalculates the digital fingerprint for all 1.4 million items and compares it to the original one. It's a constant, relentless integrity check running in the background.
You know, this really gets to the core philosophy of this whole system. We're not just storing data, we're preserving a verifiable, mathematically provable history of truth.
And this is the final report card. This is what an auditor sees. It shows the total evidence count. It confirms that all 1.4 million items have been verified, that the chain of custody is intact, and most importantly, that 0 anomalies were detected. It is a perfect score. You can't argue with that. Our hero, that single login event from the very beginning, has made it. Along with millions of others, its journey through the chain is now complete. This report is the definitive digital proof that it is authentic and completely unchanged.
Ultimately, every organization's actions create a story, and that story is written in data. The evidence chain is what ensures that story is true. So the final question to think about is your evidence chain strong enough to tell your story?